Hello and welcome. This is Gregory Thayer. This is Conversations with Gregory, a Vermonters for Vermont initiative production here at PEG TV in beautiful downtown Rutland at the Howe Center. And today I had the honor and the privilege to have a good friend and one of your public servants, Matt Prouty, who is commander of the Rutland City Police Department, and he's also the executive director of Project Vision, which is a great citizen police City Hall tool for you, the people, to let you know what's going on and how you can get involved. So, Commander, thank you for being here.
Thanks for reaching out again, having me on.
Yeah, we were here about a year or so ago, and it's always good to get an update. And we have a big thing coming up this week. Not this week. I think it's
2 weeks.
Yeah, about 2 weeks. I'm going to let the commander talk about it for a little bit, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Project Vision. And if you have any questions, you can always email us. Mine's definitely up there. I think we can get Rich and Jim to put up the commanders if he's okay with that.
Absolutely.
And they're at the police department, and they do have monthly meetings, and we'll get into that. They do have monthly meetings that are open to the public right there at the police headquarters, so on Wales Street. So Commander, let's talk about August 5.
Yeah, so Tuesday, August 5th from 4 to 7 p.m., Meadow Street Park, National Night Out.
National Night,
big
beautiful
event. I know you've been there 100 times, so have I. It's grown over the years. So it's that community police partnership that is done annually. Burgers, dogs. I think Stewart's usually has ice cream there.
Yeah, they do. It's good ice cream.
It really is. I'm hoping to have a minimum of 6 of my staff down there.
Nice.
Some of my resource specialists, myself, of course, Chief Kilcullen. I don't know if we have a dunk tank. If we do, I want to get him on it.
You get him on it, I'll just go push it.
So yeah, it's a great time. In the past, sometimes, fire department always has their equipment down there.
Yeah.
National Guard will be there. A lot of our providers and nonprofit organizations are there showcasing what they have to offer, so people can get connected. Family event.
Yeah.
Bring the kids, bring grandparents, everything.
Yeah. The last couple of years, we've had a helicopter from the
national. We did that, and last year we also had the cruiser competition, where they vote on the best looking cruiser. The state police brought Monty, that 1940 something cruiser, which I think that's cheating.
Yeah.
Because how could you not give it to that? But the National Guard helicopter was a huge success. I'm not sure if we got a bird this year. I hope so. What's nice about Meadow Street is you got the 2 ball fields, so you have enough room to do it. So
there's a lot of nonprofits, down there, and reaching out to people and there to let people know that they're there to help from everything from housing to just how to parent, how to do a lot of different things, budgeting, with these different groups, and there's so much stuff, and there's the militaries down there. I know my good friend Rick Gallo's organization's been down there in the past, but
Veterans Outreach has been down there, but we'll still have probably the Guard presence, and hopefully we can have a family assistance coordinator there. We'll see about that, but it's just amazing the depth of organizations that participate, and they always have little giveaways. So it's nice.
Yeah, it's great for the community. It really is. It's a great community thing. And I remember when it started a lot of years ago when I was on the city council, and we were just pretty much doing hot dogs and hamburgers, and everybody was just there talking. And now we've got all these. It's grown, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, in Meadow Street, we've done it a few different places. We've done it at Georgetti, we've done it at the fairgrounds. Meadow Street Park is big enough that we can.
And there's good parking.
There's
good parking out there. So that's good. The other thing I wanted to mention is Commander Prouty also served our nation for a lot of years in the military. So thank you for that, because it's a beautiful thing, and it's not just Matthew serving; his wife served. the family serves too, because when they're out on deployments, even if it's a weekend thing, they're the spouses, whether it's the husband or the wife, are home taking care of the home. So
yeah, that's really tough. There were a few people that my wife is really close with, because while I was my last deployment, when I was gone, in some very real ways helped us out, helped her out. Mm-hmm. Things that maybe I had always taken care of, but then something goes wrong. It's like, oh crap, what do I do? And to be able to have folks in community can reach out and say, hey, I don't know what to do here, and that's pretty special. So.
I always have to recognize our military and law enforcement, or first responders, because they do a great job, and they're putting their life on the line for us, we the people, and that's important, and it's powerful. So it's always good to just, even if you're in the market or at a restaurant, you see one, say thank you, hi and thank you, and they appreciate it, and their family does. So
yeah, I don't know that a lot of people, Greg, realize how special, especially the Vermont Guard, is when it comes to the military. We are I'm pretty sure we're the only mountain cavalry in Big Army's arsenal. Mm-hmm. And that's the Vermont Guard, the Mountain Warfare School up in Jericho. Yeah. A lot of investments made there. And I've been around the world a couple of times. I was active duty, I've been in the Guard, I've seen a lot of units. Our mountain reconnaissance and our 3rd Battalion of Infantry, I'd put them against anybody. I'm telling you. Yeah. Professional, high speed. Vermont can be really proud to see that mountain tab.
Yeah. It is. And now Matthew is serving us in City Hall, in City Police Department. But he's also doing Project Vision. He's the executive director. So let's talk a little bit about Project Vision.
So Project Vision, a little recap. We started back in 2012 into 13 was the beginning. That was under the leadership of then Mayor Loris and Chief Baker. And the name Vision came from a grant application that we had done. We were trying to get a Bureau of Justice Administration grant for $1.2 million to build this community thing, and every grant needed a name. So they came up with the name Vision, Project Vision, Viable Initiatives and Solutions Involving Neighborhoods. So that was sort of the acronym, Vision.
Yeah.
We didn't get the grant.
Yeah. But you got the name.
But we got the name. So all that work, and we got that. And I think what was cool about it, Greg, was that there were a ton of people that were like, hey, $1.2 million, we're there. Well, when you don't have any money, you find out who your friends are, right? And so the folks that stuck with us were like, okay, let's do this thing. And back then, we had 3 committees. We had crime and safety, substance abuse and treatment, and building great neighborhoods. That was how it originally started. There's no budget, so we're all working out of our own coffers. We had a volunteer chair, Joe Kraus. He volunteered to be the chair and sort of lead the ship. And then Scott Tucker was the first director. I was asked by Jim Baker if I would go upstairs in the building and say, hey, would you mind trying this thing? I want to have a Project Vision sergeant. And you try to be like the actionable guy for the PD doing some of this stuff. And so back then we were doing the drug market intervention strategy. We were working with the FBI and DEA. We were trying to change some of the landscape in the city from an area that had a 27% owner occupied. We wanted to get closer to 50% owner occupied. Yep. Just to get some ownership, so it wasn't this neglected area of absentee landlordism. So there's a ton of stuff going on. Since then, we've evolved quite a bit. We're no longer just focused on substance use and treatment. It's more of a health committee on a bigger scale, and that's led by Jamie Bentley out of RRMC, and they have a ton of subcommittees supported, by the health department and others. I have a community policing subcommittee, which is a group of really professional folks that I like them because they're not an echo chamber. I can easily walk around the building and have people nod and yes me to death. I want to talk to folks that will say, hey, no, that's ridiculous. I want real feedback, and I bump a lot of ideas off them. And also what's nice is it's a safe spot for me where we can actually have conflict, and it's not going to be on social media tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
right?
good.
We have that kind of trust where we can really talk about tough issues, and they've been wonderful. So we're working there. We have a training and education committee now that's being led by some folks out of Castleton University. They have the Trauma Support and Justice Center over there, and a member of the Vermont Health Department Emergency Management, Eric Pulver, is also helping with that. So they're trying to put trainings and stuff together, for not just for Vision Partners, but for providers and organizations throughout the community. We have a youth committee, which is fantastic. They have the youth drop-in center now downtown, and so there's a lot going on in Vision. I still have this unofficial committee called the See a Need, Meet a Need. Like when you see something out there that like, hey, we got to intervene here.
Right.
I get these emails or I get these phone calls, and I have the listserv. And the Department of Public Safety has been wonderful about letting me use our Vermont.gov platform to have this listserv. So I have almost 600 folks on that listserv, and I can blast out this email, Greg, that says, I have mother with child coming out of homelessness into apartment, they have nothing. Working with the case management, their names listed below, these are the needs. Need a toddler bed, blah, blah, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I shoot that email out. 15 minutes later, there's a ton of organizations or even individuals that have the means that are contacting that case manager. Hey, how can I help? What can I do? And so we see the need, let's meet the need.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a whole lot of bureaucracy.
Right.
It shouldn't have to go through an application process and nonsense and all that. And like, hey, there's a lot of giving people or organizations that have the means or ability to meet some of these needs. It's just like, how do we connect?
Yeah.
Right. Other things that are going on in Vision that I am super excited about. We've been talking about this for a long time. I'm not a good marketer. Okay, I'm good. I'm a good shot. Good at, I speak fluent Doberman and German Shepherd. A lot of things I'm good at. Marketing is not one of them. One of my officers told me a while back, because we were doing some type of press release thing, and they're like, my generation, that's not how we get our news. I'm like, or this is not how we communicate. I'm like, man, we got to come up to speed. So Jamie Bentley and Catherine Carter, Jamie's with the hospital, and Catherine is with the Vermont Department of Health. They had put together a podcast that is now on Spotify called Vision into Action.
Oh, nice.
And so I sat down, they interviewed me at the Hub. They had a spot in there and did the podcast. So that's going to be out there. I think actually that first episode is already on Spotify. So we're going to, find folks throughout community. They're going to pick them, and I don't micromanage any of that stuff. Yeah. But just showcasing some talent and leadership here in the city, and telling our story that way. Yeah. Kind of excited about that. What else I got going on? I think I told you last time that in the Vision Center we have been working on this community resource specialist position. I have 2 community resource specialists now that work for me. They have social work backgrounds. They are amazing.
Where is that location?
Right in the station.
Right in the station.
They are. You'll see them. They wear gray shirts. Community resource specialists. They drive white cars with the city emblem on it. They're not cops, although they do have police radios. But the system is great, Greg, because officer goes to a call. Let's say it's an emergency call. We figure out things, get things settled down. In the past, it would have been, okay, we don't have a criminal problem here. Yeah, you have a lot of life stuff.
Yeah, social.
I got to go.
Yeah.
Right. Now, it can be, the officer can go in and say, okay, I don't have a criminal issue here, but I see there's a lot of other things going on. Would you mind if I give your name to some folks in our station? They kind of deal with this stuff, help you guys connect with folks. It's literally, they just go into their case, they check a box, request follow-up from the resource specialist, and they can follow up. Yeah. They help people navigate complicated systems, and they take that burden off the officer. Those are non-criminal things. I need officers doing police stuff. right? And they're not always really good at that social thing, although they're pretty good at that too. But why not have people that's their job, right? And it's in our interest. So if we can intervene that way, have a decent outcome, that takes calls off of our plate in the long run, because usually what led to the call are a whole bunch of other stressors.
Right.
You can deal with the stresses, you don't get the call.
Yeah.
Things start moving forward. People get hope and like, oh, I can navigate this. And so that's pretty amazing. I have those 2 staff. I do have a 3rd position, but we're not filling that right at the moment. What else are you going? Let me grab my specs. I have been working on this with this group called Operation to Save Lives for about 2.5 years. I've been wanting them to come to Rutland. I actually had some vision money that we had raised set aside. I was going to pay these guys like $4,000, come in, help us. Just really look at our what we're doing. Sometimes you're too close to something that you don't see the gaps, because it's right here and you need to have someone come in. Then I get a call. They say, hey, Matt, hold off with these guys. The state Department of Public Safety is going to contract with these folks. Let public safety pay that, and then you can hop on. Well, then they forgot about me. And so they went to Bennington. They did a training down there, and they started what's called the situation table there. They went to Bennington, Springfield. I also went to Springfield's training with a member from Rutland Mental Health. Her and I went over there, and it's amazing. And I'll tell you about it in just a second. But then I got a hold of Scott Allen he's a retired chief from in Plymouth County in Massachusetts. I'm like, Scott, we've been talking for 2 years. How did I get forgotten about? And he goes, Matt, I don't know. So we put in a plug with Jen Morrison, the commissioner. I'm like, hey, Rutland's ready to go. Yeah. Let us in. So in March, we did our 2-day training here, and we went live in April. And what the situation table is it's a process that's going around the country and in Canada and back in Scotland, that you look at, anyone can bring a situation to a table where you have someone that is at an acute elevated risk of harm. And when you talk about an acute elevated risk of harm, it can't just be one discipline. It has to be multidisciplinary, meaning if I have somebody that has substance use disorder, and that's the driver, and that's it, well, I just make a referral to a treatment folks, Yeah. But if it's mental health related, substance use related, criminal related, it's crossing multiple sectors. Now it comes to the table, right? So we will bring a situation to the table, and it goes something like this. I have a situation. I have a male between the ages of 50 and 59. These are the risk factors, and they're defined. They're clearly defined. And what'll happen is at the end of that meeting, we'll come up with a team, a filter. We call it the filter 4 team. You go through these three filters first, and you have the filter 4 team that meets offline. Someone takes the lead. Let's just say mental health is the main driver. So a mental health person will take the lead, like, okay, we'll lead this. But then you have this little team that gets together, and they go to do an intervention. We try to do it between 24 and 48 hours. We're going to go out and we're going to meet with this person. Or we're going to have someone that has maybe some rapport. And then we're going to build a team around the individual, with a whole point of not solving all the world's problems, but at least getting away from that acute elevated risk. Right. Meaning if we don't intervene now, bad things are going to happen. Yeah. And it's been amazing. We're up to about 25 situations that we're working with. Many of them have been resolved. I think we have about 4 now that are still active. Yeah. But Greg, the magic is that filter 4 team are from all different organizations. That team is spending time together. They're cross-pollinating. They're building relationships. They're building friendships. They're working on real stuff. Yeah. Right? When you do that, there's this magic. It's not like in the past where I'm like, hey, I've got this problem. Well, who do I call? Well, let me send an email to an organization. Maybe someone will get back. Now it's like, let me call Jen.
You got a team right there at your fingertips.
Right, yeah. And the more this happens, the more these teams grow, these relationship builds, and the situations that come through will have different team members. Yeah. Right? And you have primary, your outreach folks, whether it be from the hospital or the city police or Rutland Mental Health, whatever, right? You have these outreach folks, Brock. And then you have these other organizations that we call them secondary, but very, very important, that provide certain services. And then we get to pull them in. And I think it's going to be phenomenal. Burlington, you may have seen on CAX, they have gone through the training now. They're getting ready to go live. I think they've had their first situation table
Sounds
recently.
like this is really addressing, I'm going to use the overall word, mental health issues in our communities that are driving a lot of crimes, drug, and housing, no jobs, stuff like that.
Yeah, it really does. And this isn't magic or rocket science. There's a magic to it because of just how the process is. And nobody owns the table. That's not Matt Prouty's table, right? This is a community table. Now, you can't just walk in there, right? You need to, there's a training that goes with it. We have to sign non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah.
Just about everybody that's that we see in there, they've either signed a release of information so that their information can be talked about. We don't make any organization speak about things they're not allowed to. They follow all of their own protocols. We're not asking anybody to well, you have to tell us, what's happening. No. What's cool about it is the police department. So we're not a HIPAA-bound organization. So if I have somebody that I feel is at an acute elevated risk, I can bring it to the table, and I will get when I can get to that point to give the name, I can give that because it's not protected. But
now, if the team isn't reaching that individual, at the table, is it something that the team cooperatively says this individual needs more professional help, like the Rutland mental health?
Referrals so those assessments will all be done, and that's the beauty of the team. But that team now has the ability outside of the table to reach out to, hey, we're going to need a higher level of care, and then you bring those in. But that's the cool part of having that group there, because these are all professionals, and they know hey, this is beyond us. Let's look, and sometimes it's going to be, hey, they don't want our help, right? But at least we did the intervention, and there's still value because the team still went out. The team still was communicating. The team still got together, and I think what I like the most about it is there's ownership assigned to the team. If I'm part of a Filter 4 team, Greg, and they say, Matt Prouty, you're the lead on this, that next week we start the meeting after introductions and announcements of, do we have any follow-up from last week? Where are we at? I have to give an account.
Right.
If I don't want to be the guy that goes in there and says, I forgot, I got busy. I'm like, well, you can't be busy if we're coming to a table that says this is someone that's at an acute elevated risk of harm. That should be at the top of your priority list, right? So what else were you doing that was so important that this person that's at a risk of harm you've ignored? I think that the ownership part is really important. And the communities we're sharing. So we have these meetings where it's the Vermont cohort, and we talk about our challenges, successes, what's working, and we're borrowing from each other. Like, ooh, I really like what Bennington did here. I really like what Springfield is doing here.
Working with the other. How many Springfield?
So
Bennington,
right
Rutland?
now it's there's a table in Bennington and Brattleboro, Springfield. In fact, I just talked to Chief Burnham this morning. Springfield's doing great. Rutland, we were the fourth. St. Johnsbury, I went up for their 2-day training just to provide some guidance and what it looked like, more mentoring for the police department of how it looks, and in Burlington. So I think the next one, they want to do one in the Woodstock area in Barrie.
Nice.
So this is part of Governor Scott's violence reduction strategy, to have these types of things in place. And
well, it sounds like it's working. And are the subject matters, these individuals, are they pretty receptive?
Yes, a lot. In fact, we've even had cases, Greg, where I think this is interesting, where people have sought out individuals that they know go to the situation table and like, hey, would you bring me to the table? I mean,
really,
how powerful is that?
Yeah. Word of mouth marketing.
Yeah. So again, it's not going to solve all the world's problems, but it is a way that we can share the burden, do it in a way that we're literally building teams, because we're always better together, right?
Yeah.
Instead of individuals trying to do it themselves.
Yeah, working.
You don't know what you don't know. So sometimes when you're out there, I didn't realize that X organization also specialized in this. You know, you can't know everything about everything, right? So that part's pretty neat. The other part is the data sets and the risk factors that are part of the recording piece that we report, that we store, are the same in Frankfort, Kentucky, in Rutland, in Chelsea, Massachusetts, and wherever. We're all, so there's no like, oh, this is a Rutland specific problem. No such thing, right? Yeah. There's nothing new under the sun. So we can compare apples to apples around the nation on how we're doing, right? And we can also use that data, you know, as time goes on to, wow, we see that there's a real gap here. We need to invest here. Or, hey, what are we doing about this risk factor that we've really struggled with meeting this need that's coming to the table? You know, it just helps with your decision making. A lot of benefits to it.
Yeah. Now, are there, how about like the community part of Project Vision, the neighborhoods? Are there like any neighborhood block parties still going? Remember when I was on the council, you know, we did some of that stuff.
Yeah, we haven't, since coming out of COVID, we haven't had the big block parties. Chief Gilcullen is pretty big on us doing the neighborhood meetings, the sector meetings.
Yeah.
So we should be actually coming up on the time where he's going to request that the sergeants do another one.
Yeah.
And they'll have the data for that particular neighborhood. And it's also a time that in the neighborhood you get to meet, you can go and meet that sector sergeant and bring your questions and concerns.
Who's well, I don't want to do names, but there was a gentleman at that shop up by Beauchamp and O'Rourke that had all the data, all the facts, and they're keeping statistics of the city and what's going on. Is that still going on, keeping the statistics?
Oh yeah, so I have an analyst, Nate Thibodeau.
Okay.
He's our strategic analyst.
Yeah.
In the station, and so we're also bringing into the Vision Center. I have two other organizations that I'm bringing in for more of a intelligence type analysis, so we can be like our own little mini fusion center to really assist my Bureau of Criminal Investigations.
Yeah. That's good, because you know you hear people like, you know, it's crime down, it's crime up, what's going on? And it's like, call down, talk to the police department. I'm sure they'll.
Yeah, so
talk
we
to
do
you.
every other week, every other Tuesday, at 8 o'clock. The chief does host the RUTSTAT, which is based off a New York City ComStat model, where we look at locations that we have been over the past 2 weeks, prior 2 weeks, 3 or more times, and the sergeants report out on that data. And a lot of our community partners come to that meeting because even though they may not want to speak about because they can't confirm or deny and all that stuff, let's just say you're a case manager for maybe a mental health agency, and you go to this RUTSTAT and you hear your client's name come up from this case, and this case. That's pretty powerful when you go into case management and you say, hey Bill, how did it go last week? How you been doing? Oh, great. Any problems with the law? Nope, none at all. I'm like, well, what about that scooter you stole and got caught running down the street? Like, oh, you heard about that? Like, yeah, I heard about that. You know, so it's just good for them to be informed. I've had folks that do case management where they were about ready to place a client in a really bad spot that came up in RUTSTAT, and they're like, boy, I'm glad I came. And I learned about that location because this really would have derailed the progress we made. And so it's good that way. And it also, for us internally in the building, is like, okay, what's the strategy, Sarge, of how we're going to address in your sector to get this location off of RUTSTAT? Yeah. What do we need to do?
Tom Donahue talked a little bit about it. He was in a couple, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, so he usually comes. Yeah. He usually comes because he's on the Public Safety Committee for the Board of Aldermen.
Yeah. So 30 minutes goes fast.
Oh, wow.
Goes really fast. I just want to, thank you for all that, and people can get involved by, what is it, Tuesday mornings?
So the second Thursday of each month at Calvary Bible Church. We're there from noon to about 1:15.
Okay.
That open to the public. Please come.
Do you serve lunch?
We have been. We've been having Domino's has been donating pizza.
Nice.
But we'd be happy to have you, and you can reach out to me, matthew.prouty@vermont.gov, all spelled out, and I'd be happy to reach out.
And again, don't forget, Tuesday, August 5 at Meadow Street Park, Project Vision National Night Out. Come on down, bring the family, bring grandma, bring friends.
Yes.
Come on down. Thank you very much, Commander. Appreciate
Greg.
it.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks for your service. Thank you, everybody, and God bless you.